The day my pastor caught his wife and assistant pastor in the act. If your pastor can't trust his own wife, who should? If the man of God steps out for a crusade, and another man mounts his altar, not the pulpit or the altar of his own bed, how do you pray that one away? What would you do if you caught your wife, the first lady of your church, with the man you anointed and raised as your spiritual son? Would you shout? Would you collapse? Or would you do what Pastor Elisha did, because what he did next turned his private heartbreak into a scandal that shook the church and made headlines for weeks? This is the true story of how a pastor lost his home, his ministry, and his name all in one night. Pastor Elisha Obiora was the kind of man who didn't just preach holiness, he lived it. For over 18 years, he built Fire Rain Ministries International from the ground up. From a small classroom fellowship in Ikorodu to a multi-thousand-seater mega auditorium in Lekki. He fasted. He prayed. He was loved. He was respected. His sermons could melt hearts. His voice alone commanded silence. And every member, from elders to teenagers, saw him as the father of the faith. But at home, he had one treasure more sacred than his Bible, his wife, Maria. Maria Obiora, beautiful, elegant, and heavily admired in women's fellowship. She was the perfect first lady. Women copied her style, her words, even her prayers. She was grace in motion. Together, they looked like God's perfect couple. Until a man called Pastor Daimeji entered the picture. Pastor Daimeji was everything Fire Rain's youth craved. Sharp suits, deep voice, good grammar, and, allegedly, deep in the spirit. He was invited once to minister during a youth revival. By the following month, Pastor Elisha made him assistant pastor. At first, everything seemed fine. But Elisha started to notice small things. Maria, who never used to miss Bible studies, started asking Daimeji to lead the meetings in her husband's absence. She started laughing too long at Daimeji's jokes, whispering to him after service, defending him during leadership meetings. But the one that made Elisha's spirit uncomfortable. Daimeji started calling her Mommy Maria. Not Mommy Gio. Not First Lady. Not Mo. Just Mommy Maria. With a familiarity that felt wrong. Elisha prayed. But something didn't feel right. Elisha began noticing things he couldn't ignore. Maria started locking her phone. She no longer joined him in morning devotions. She stopped attending couples retreat events. One night, while she thought Elisha was asleep, she took her phone to the bathroom and stayed there for 45 minutes. And then came the dreams. Elisha had 3 dreams in 1 week. In each one, he saw his own pulpit covered in ashes, and his wedding ring melting in fire. He asked Maria to fast with him. She declined. He asked her if anything was wrong. She smiled. You're overthinking again, my husband. You're always suspicious. But this time, he wasn't just suspicious. He was spiritually disturbed. A ministers' conference was announced in Abuja. Elisha decided to attend, but with a plan. He told Maria he'd be gone for 5 days. He informed the assistant pastors. He packed his bags. Took photos at the airport. Posted updates online. But he never got on the flight. Instead, he went to a small Airbnb in town and told only one trusted friend, his prayer partner, Elder Samson. Something is going on in my house, he told him. And I won't rest until I know the truth. On the 3rd night of the conference, Elisha returned home in disguise. He had shaved his beard and wore a face cap. He didn't drive in. He parked 2 streets away, walked barefoot into his own compound, and entered through the kitchen door using his spare key. The house was unusually quiet. Upstairs, the light in the master bedroom was on. As he crept up the stairs, he heard voices, then low laughter, then silence. Then, a strange sound. Not prayer. Not music. But the unmistakable rhythm of a bed, shaking. He placed his hand on the door handle. Paused. Prayed. Then opened the door slowly. There they were. Maria, naked. Pastor Daimeji, dripping sweat. Locked in an embrace no prayer could justify. Elisha stood there for 5 full seconds. Time stopped. His wife screamed. Daimeji tried to cover himself with the bedsheet. Elisha spoke only once. So, this is the anointing you've been laying hands with. No shouting. No beating. No tears. Just silence. Then Elisha dropped his Bible and walked out. The next morning, Elisha made 3 phone calls. 1, to his lawyer. 2, to the church board. 3, to the press. By Sunday, Fire Rain Ministries was full. People had heard something. No one knew what. Elisha walked in, alone. Climbed the altar. Looked at the crowd. And told them everything. My wife and my assistant pastor were caught in an affair in my own house. I will be stepping down indefinitely. But let this serve as a warning, not all betrayals come from outside. Sometimes, the snake sleeps in your own garden. The church exploded in shock. Some left. Some fainted. Some tried to defend Maria. Others cried. Maria disappeared that night. Daimeji vanished by Monday. In the weeks that followed, videos leaked online. Photos from the CCTV Elisha had secretly installed in the bedroom. Screenshots of chats between Maria and Daimeji. Even one voice note where Maria said, "He's a good man, but he's too weak. You, Daimeji, you make me feel alive." Church leaders across Nigeria started making statements. Fire Rain Ministries was temporarily shut down. Elisha's face was all over YouTube, Facebook, and even newspaper blogs. Pastor catches wife and assistant in the act, full confession Sunday service goes viral. 6 months later, Elisha moved to Ghana. He took time off ministry, started therapy, and began speaking at marriage seminars under a new initiative, Altar Without Shame. He wrote a book, shared his story. He didn't just survive the betrayal, he grew stronger. Today, Elisha is back in ministry under a new church, True Flames Global, with thousands of members across West Africa. He never remarried. But now he preaches with more truth than ever before. Because he knows what betrayal feels like. And he knows how to rise from ashes. Some people are only holy because they haven't been tempted yet. Some are only loyal because opportunity never came. But when lust meets access, even the first lady can fall. When pride meets power, even the assistant can destroy the pulpit. Pastor Elisha's story is not one of disgrace. It's a warning, a lesson, and a reminder, not everyone beside you is with you. And not every fire in a church is from God. What would you do if you were Pastor Elisha?